Hello, Bee.
Hi, Paul. Lovely to speak with you again.
Yeah, it's been I think a couple of years, hasn't it? Well, 18 months at least.
Yeah, so we met at one of your networking events. I can't even tell you when that was
No.
now. It feels like a whole lifetime ago. But yeah, so it feels good to be speaking once again and
Yeah.
communicating.
Well, thanks for your time today. It's really nice to see your face again, and be able to catch up with you, as it has been with lots of people throughout this sort of series. So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you. So for those that don't know that are watching, if you'd like to sort of tell us a little bit about what you do.
Of course. So I'm Bee. I'm from Viva Tramp Creatives. So I'm primarily a copywriter and content writer. I work with small business owners and coaches to take control of their message and just sort of reignite their passion for expressing themselves. Because I think we can all get a little bit shy and we can all sort of think, I'm not a writer, so I can't go near my website. I'll just leave it as it is. And it's sort of my job to come in and to sort of nurture their creativity and show them where they can take their business with words.
Great, that's perfectly summed up there. So yeah, I guess similar to myself, working with people to get their message out there, it's a nice,
Yeah.
rewarding job that you do. I just wanted, for the people I've been speaking to, is how's the last 18 months, 2 years been for yourself?
So it's been a bit of an interesting one for me. So I've got Crohn's disease, so I'm immunocompromised. So in February 2020, I got a call from my specialist saying, stop going to the supermarket, send your partner out for things, don't go out anywhere, don't do anything, just stay home. So I was like, okay, so I guess this thing is getting pretty serious then. And since then, I was pretty much shielding for the entirety of last year. I think I went out twice, apart from doctor's appointments. So my experience of the pandemic is slightly different to quite a lot of people's
Yeah.
because obviously there's been a lot on the line. It's been a bit risky. So it's been quite eventful, but also really uneventful at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess it's affected people in so many different ways, and like yourself, where you've had to shield and really keep away from
Yeah.
things, and that's a long old time. And say going back to February, then to be told that, and so how has it been for you in terms of not being able to go out, obviously, and how's it been? How's it impacted your work, and as a result of that?
So I guess that's the interesting thing. So I started my business because I knew that I wouldn't be able to do a 9 to 5 like most. I wouldn't be able to go out to work because of my symptoms, because of, how I go about daily life. That wasn't an option for me. So in a way, my business was built for me to be at home, working with people wherever they were in the world. So, in that respect, I think in comparison to a lot of people and a lot of business owners who were suddenly faced with, having to rethink their whole the whole way they work, I was suddenly in a position where I could do this. I knew what I was doing. I know what I was offering. So I guess in a way, a lot didn't change in that respect, but the way people wanted to work with me perhaps shifted a little. Um, People seemed to, I think it made people realize that they only had a short time on this earth with their business. And if they wanted to express themselves and if they wanted to do it well and confidently and maybe shrug off all of the anxieties that they'd had before, which seemed in some cases trivial now, then they wanted to work with somebody who would be able to facilitate that. So I found a lot more people coming to me who wanted me to sort of, in some cases, still do the work, like do the writing for them, but at the same time, people coming to me and saying, look, I want to fully express myself with words, really show up as myself. How do I do that? So that was a shift for me in my business. But in terms of the other side of things, I was apocalypse prepared.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I guess for myself it was similar. Like I say, we've got, if you work for yourself and you can work from home effectively, all we need is
Yeah,
a laptop and the programs and phone and the
yeah,
internet. You can be a bit flexible in that regard. And yeah, I mean we suddenly anybody takes it all in, takes a deep breath, and goes, right, the dust isn't going to settle for a while, but what can we adapt and what can we do? And we found that was like, yeah, people suddenly had a chance to slow things down, actually look at
Yeah.
their business and step back. And like you
I think
say,
it's
with the,
like everybody sort of picked up the list of things that you like. Everybody's got that list of things they need to do that they just shift from one week to the next, one week to the next, month after month after month. And I feel like this gave everybody the opportunity to just sort of glance at that list and go, okay, I'm running out of excuses. So let's tick off this one. Let's tick off this one, because it gave them something to do. And it also gave them like a creative outlet that we so desperately needed, especially during like lockdown when you couldn't go anywhere or do anything. I feel like that really gave people something to focus on, which, like, being like, a little wordsmith, that just made my heart sing, because this is the
yeah.
stuff that I love, that usually clients are like, yeah, okay, B, just write the thing and send the thing. We don't need to know why you love words so much. But I feel like this gave even my clients like an appreciation of that, which was really beautiful to see. I don't know if you found that with, like, people reaching out to you as well.
Yeah, I think definitely it was just an interesting time for people to take stock of things. But also, I
Yeah,
guess one of the things you mentioned, well, I guess it's like it's people to be more open
yeah,
and kind of and show their vulnerable side. Particularly, like we're
yeah,
all human. We all suffer. We were all like in this together, but in different ways. But I
yeah.
guess in terms of what you do and what I do, putting the message out there, and maybe repackaging it in a different way, is that honesty was the thing that kind of galvanized people that we were all in the same boat. But I wondered how you've seen the business owners and the brands that you work with in terms of telling their story, their brand story. Have you seen a shift in how people are willing to adapt their message?
I feel like people became more confident as the spheres between like your work life, your personal life, etc., sort of blurred. People seem to be more confident with letting their clients in a bit more. So whereas before they'd feel like, oh, I can't really write in that tone, or I can't really express that in a post because people think I'm really unprofessional. And I feel like I've had less of those conversations where I sort of sit people down and go, look, you can write in this way which is more personable, and people won't think that you're really unprofessional and whatever. I feel like people are more open to just not putting on this facade or persona. I mean, obviously, if they've got a business, that means that they can't really do that. Like you wouldn't suddenly want like an undertaker's just suddenly like talking about how all the laundry's piling up or whatever, and you'd be a bit like, okay, that doesn't really, the messaging doesn't work. But I mean, I work with like a lot of coaches, and I've said, to them, in this moment, how do you feel and how are you responding? And I feel like that's really informed their messaging, because it's that vulnerability, especially at a time like this, that we can all appreciate, and we're all in this boat together. So people feel more comfortable with conveying that within their business without worrying that people will think, oh, things aren't going well for them then, which I think is really nice, because we need more of that. I mean, I once shared a post on LinkedIn that went a bit mad because I spoke about how I like to sometimes do business while sat in the dog's bed. I just find myself gravitating towards it because it's comfy, it's memory foam, it's really bougie, and I sometimes find myself just writing copy and content from the dog's bed. And I remember sharing that, and some people were just like, I cannot believe you shared that. But I was like, what? We've all worked from really weird places. And at the end of the day, I had plenty of messages in from people saying, oh, I work from this place, I work from that place, I once had a nap in my dog's bed, like I feel like it's totally brought down some of those barriers for people, and that's something I have relished.
No, I'm completely with you on that, and that's been so fascinating to see that shift, and people
Yeah,
embracing video like this, and I've seen people go on now to do like on the radio or doing their own shows or getting it's kind of boosted people to do that, and yeah, I've been I also find it fascinating in terms of messaging. I've actually got a folder that I save, so all the big brands, particularly the supermarkets, I've
mm,
kept their emails that came out for tone of voice. And
yeah,
just to look back on it in the future for that and that kind of like yeah that kind of empathy kind of feel and the kind of that we're all on the same level. And I guess looking back at lots of these chats we've had on Zoom and things we've
mm,
done online, and say people showing their homes and things in the background, or their pets. I had one of the ladies that I've spoke to on this channel, Liz, She's worked for the BBC, business broadcaster. Worked there for years. Really, and I was so worried because I was really panicking, sat here waiting for her to come on in the video, because I was thinking, oh no, this has got to be right. And when she came on, she was there with the cat or the dog going do 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 straight away. They say the barriers come down. We're all human. We all, and I think it's like you said, the crossover between work-life balance and what we share has been interesting and quite so fascinating to see that evolve.
Yeah, just like the importance of injecting personality into everything you do is just so integral to everything that I do, that it's just something I implore my clients to do. Like, especially with the coaching clients at the moment, when I'm writing like their web copy, I really like to make sure that their personal narrative is in it. So in their about pages, I like their light bulb moment to be pride of place. And that's something that I've been really encouraging over the last year, because I feel like so many of their dream clients are sat at home having even the beginnings of these light bulb moments, thinking, okay, hang on, so now that this has stopped in my life, I'm realizing this, or now that this has happened, I've actually realized that that part of my life wasn't working on any level. So I've really been encouraging people to not just keep that in their head, to actually vocalize those things, because again, that's something else that I think we're all sharing. Even if we're just doing it internally, we're all having those thoughts at the moment, asking ourselves if things are right, if we've said everything that we need to say in the right way, or if we're doing things in a way that still feels authentic to us. So all of these conversations I've been having are so important, and have just been like so moving as well, because we have all had these different experiences during this time. Even if we've been having like a shared wider experience, I've been having a totally different time to my clients or my loved ones. And I think that that has been so interesting as well, how we interact with everybody throughout this, even though we know that, there's going to be similarities, but there's also going to be big contrasts there too.
Yeah, and I think with the say different businesses, their tone and looking at different, what's gone on and how they've adapted. And so, like you said, it's being able to make changes and be
Yeah.
honest and say this didn't work, and those people that have been brave to make those tough decisions, is taking their business in a different direction maybe. And like I said, like
Yeah.
how they talk to their customers, and do they still talk to them in the same way? I guess looking back for we celebrate 10 years this year, and I remember when I started out, I was like, right, I'll look up graphic designers in Taunton, and there was pages of them, and I was like, oh no, like, how am I going to fit? How am I going to fit in amongst all of
Yeah.
this? But what I found, I guess you as a copywriter, I started to look for the websites, and they all said the same thing in the same way, in the same words. And then I thought, well, that's the differentiator is me. And if you work with someone with a small business, you get that person one to one to work with. And I guess
Yeah.
that's part of your role is, like you said, is to get that out, that story of who they are and their journey, really.
But I guess it's easy to see why people do that, right? Because it's almost like there's a language that you stick to. I mean, like, even as a copywriter, I've seen it. There's been times where I thought, maybe I need to sound more corporate. Like, are people underestimating me because I'm not speaking in a way that intimidates them, or like, actually
Yeah.
makes them feel slightly scared? Like, do I need to ramp that up a little so that I'm like, what everybody thinks a copywriter should be? But at the end of the day, because I'm coming with like a background in creative writing and things like that, like that's what I'm grounded in, and that's what I love. So that's what I bring to the work, and that's why I draw such creative and open-minded and heart-centered business owners. And at the end of the day, those are the people that I want to work with. So if I'm not attracting, a corporate suit to talk about, I don't know, something particularly dull, then that's fine by me, because at the end of the day, it wasn't going to be a match.
Yeah.
So I think it really is about leaning into your own self-expression during this time. That's something I've been doing, not even just for my clients, just something to do with myself, just saying like, how can I really breathe everything that I value and love into every area of my life, from the pictures that I put on my walls to, how I turn up, to what I wear. Like, so much of it has been transformed over the last year because I've given myself permission to. And I think that's what we've all done in a way. Use this time to just say, why not?
I definitely resonate with that, and I think also it's like it's saying no to stuff as well. It's choosing the stuff that
Yeah.
makes, like you said at the very start, it's stuff that gets you excited, and that's what you love to do. And it's not always the perfect fit. Someone might be, and it's difficult sometimes to say, oh, I don't think this is gonna, I don't work like
Yeah.
that. And I've met a few clients that I've started working through lockdown, and I've not met them yet. Still not met them in person. It's all been because they were referrals during lockdown, and
Yeah.
I've helped people rebrand in this time, to help them with their marketing, but we've not met in person yet. And for me, that was a bit strange. I know a lot of people work with people all over the world, but I
Mhm.
guess it's that just getting that you're on the same page. You just get it, don't you? It just works with your clients.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, like in terms of connecting with people, like in terms of like video calls and things, is to just use it like a normal conversation, like what we're having, like, because that's how I work. So I don't meet up with any clients. I haven't met any of mine. Actually, tell a lie, I met Becky Wright at the networking event where I met you, but I didn't talk to her that night or anything. So I've worked with her, but I've not met anybody else that I've worked with. And in order to build that connection, I sit and I listen for words that they use and phrases that they use. And then they'll see those thoughts echoed through their copy that I write for them, and they'll go, that's exactly how I feel about that. And I sit there and I think, yes, that's literally because I've listened to you say that very thing, and I've then expressed that in the best way possible. And I think that that's part of like the magic in a way. Um, Through things like this, if you actively listen and really pull out the gems that clients are saying, it enriches the whole experience as well. So that's something that I really love about talking to people and listening to them when they don't realize that I'm really, really listening to them.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's great. It's just like say getting to know them, repackage it in a way that they've, that's great to
Yeah.
hear that in
It's
terms of
like that's something I picked up at university. The lecturer would say something really profound, and I'd just be like, and then it would turn up in my essay, and they'd be like, "Wow, you are so thoughtful," and I'd be like, "Yep."
yeah.
Don't tell my lecturers that. They can't take back my degree, right? No, that's mine now.
So in terms of like you've been stuck home, you've been shielding a lot, and how have you kept yourself motivated and inspired during that time, and kind of what things have you learned about yourself that you didn't know before all of this?
So, in terms of what I've learned about myself, people have always said to me, "You are so resilient," and I always used to be like, "Well, no," because when you go through a trauma or a hard time, you naturally build that resilience. So, no, I'm not resilient. I just dealt with what I had to deal with, and that was my lot. But in shielding and seeing how other people perhaps have reacted to their world being turned on its head and suddenly not knowing what to do or not being as kind as they could be or as thoughtful or, taking a step back to just think about everything that's at the end of their nose. I think actually, in a way, this has been a really, it sounds odd, but like an empowering experience for me because I've gone, do you know what? I am resilient. Like, I'll hold my hands up. Now that we've all gone through something together, and I've realized that, I've made choices that other people haven't, that I maybe expected them to or would have hoped that they would, and they didn't. And I've gone, actually, yeah, even though it's a weird thing to really gain something about yourself from it, because it might feel selfish in some way to use this as like a personal development exercise, like, oh, look how great I am in comparison to what this person did. But at the end of the day, I feel like if you can get empowerment from anywhere, if you can feel strength within your experiences, especially if you've been through trauma and hardship, I feel like learn that lesson and hold that close and really dig deep and believe in what you've come to realize because that's all that you've got. So yeah, I feel like I've built up a lot of resilience. In terms of like how I've stayed inspired, I feel like, well, luckily I live in like a village where there's like a load of fields, so I can take my dog for a walk every morning, so I can get that fresh air and not see anybody. Like if I saw one person, I count that as a traffic jam. So in a way,
Right.
that's been quite nice. And then because I'm quite creative, like a creative spirit, I feel like I make sure so much of what inspires me is like out in my home. So like there's bright flowers, there's plants, there's prints of films that we love all up on the wall. I have playlists for different moods. Like, you know, a lot of who I am is about almost like building like a museum of myself. So whenever I need inspiration, I just visit like a particular exhibit and it's there and I feel it and I've surrounded myself with it. And I hope that that's something everybody has sort of realized for themselves in this year, how much and how good it feels to express yourself externally as well as holding it all in. I hope that that's something that everybody has done. But yeah, that's how I've stayed inspired.
That's
Um,
great. Well, great answer. I love the idea of the museum sort of
yeah,
that's a great
it's a
way to.
really good way to ground yourself. If you're ever feeling like you don't really know who you are at this time in your life, almost treat it like you are building a museum of you, and you will suddenly realize that there are so many enriching things to yourself that you perhaps didn't even pick up on. Um, and then just keep that in your mind.
No, I love that. I've been in it during lockdown. We moved house last year, so it feels like an absolute miracle that we managed to do it last year of
Yeah.
all years. But yeah, part of that was for us. The timing was like we had a new house to enjoy, so I think that helped us a lot. But when
Yeah.
sorting things out in the loft, going back to the museum thing, we spent an evening just looking through old photographs, which
Yeah.
and going back to your bit about realizing that life's really precious. And you
Mhm.
look back, and my two girls now, and they're really tall and they're all grown up. And you look back at these old pictures, you think, oh my god, that was just only like feels like yesterday, but it was quite a long time ago. And so looking at things you've done and things that come up, and I think people now planning things when they can again. It's exciting to go back to
Yeah.
even basic things that you took for granted, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm meant to be getting married in February, so we've delayed by like a year or so. So hopefully that will happen. I feel like it's
Yeah.
something I haven't even really thought about or planned very much because my brain has just gone, who knows what it will be. So that's something I actively need to think about. But yeah, I feel like everybody's taken these moments to really take stock. Um, and I hope that that's like given people a lot to like feel warm about, because I feel like sometimes when we take stock we can just focus on what we haven't achieved or what we haven't done, and I really hope that actually people have also gone, here's what I've got left to achieve, or here's what else I want to do. Postman, evil postman, how dare he. But yes, I hope that this has been like, even how hard it has been losing people, struggling financially, whatever, mentally. I hope that in all of that, there's also been moments for people to really dig deep and appreciate who they are
Oh, I love
and
that.
around them and what they can do.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point you said then about people do focus on what they've not done, and like you said, and
Yeah,
and but we achieve so many things, and so many people that I've spoken to in the last year that have seen like life's pressure. They go, oh, I'll do it now or never, or actually I'll dip my toe in the water, I'll try videos, or and
yeah,
actually go, oh, I'm all right at this, and that for me has been some of the positives we've been able to take out of it is the fact that we were all everybody helping each other to want to try and do the best they can. But people it's pushed people to learn new things, upskill, or find a new passion or something they didn't really start going on walks. I mean, I was going on walks with my best friend, and why don't we do this normally? And I
yeah,
think some of those things that want to continue because actually you don't want to go back to stop doing those things because the pace of life dictates that. And I guess part of the slowdown of lockdown was suddenly where everyone was on the same page and forced to take, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Well, what can
yeah,
I do? And I think that was the time when, like you said, people reflecting actually, well, I've done this, or actually this isn't working. I've got a chance to change
yeah,
this, or you know what, I'm going to go off in a different direction. And I think that's but I love your attitude towards how you look at it, particularly as you've been so shielding for so long. Um, so
yeah.
what's the plans for you going forwards as things ease? What are you thinking personally, obviously about the 19th, and how's that going to affect you?
So I guess I'll probably be more cautious than most people, um, because I have to.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, with my immune system, the vaccine, whilst absolutely amazing, does have slightly less efficacy because of the way my body works. But I have a document with like hundreds of Somerset pubs and restaurants on that I have that I made, and then the lockdown happened, and it's been sat there, and I've been thinking about all the places that I want to tick off the minute I can, and I am so excited to get back to that with my family. I literally cannot wait. It feels like a cruel joke in a way that suddenly like that happened. As the minute I was like, I'm going to start this project and it's going to be so nice. I'm going to explore more of the county. I'm going to see all these great things. And I'm going to really feel like I know more about where I'm from. And then suddenly I can do that. But so that's something that I'm going to really feel grateful for the minute I can really start ticking off all these places.
I love that. Absolutely love it. And I think one of the things I realised during was that I don't know enough of Somerset, and
Yeah.
and I thought, so that's a great idea. I like that idea.
I'll have to send you the link to the master document.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things where I think I've just come to love, like, where I'm from even more. Like, I'm Somerset born and bred. I love being from here. And I came to realise just how, like, tiny a part of it I had actually seen. So I thought, you know what? The minute that this is, accessible to me, that I'm able to do this stuff, I just want to see as much of it as I can. Even if I can't travel to all of these extravagant places, I don't care, because there's still so many beautiful sites in this county that I have yet to see or even uncover. So that's something that I just really can't wait to do. And I'm going to feel all the more grateful to spend that time with my loved ones, eating food, drinking cider, and sharing the county, because then other people will see it and go, oh, actually, that'd be a really great place to go. And that can ultimately only be a good thing.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing the updates online about places you visit. And it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today and catching up. And I really hope to see you at an event soon. And I'm glad that your passion comes through so much for what you do and how you help people. So, I love the museum idea, and think about that a lot. And I like the pub certainly as well. So, and I wish you and your partner well for February.
Thank you.
Exciting to look forward to. But yeah, keep in touch and hopefully catch up with you soon in person. So
thank you very much, Paul.
All the best. Thanks for your time, Bee.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
bye.